Hi, good morning. Good morning. Thanks for tuning in, or good evening by the time some of you listen to this, because I know this was unannounced. So most of you will see the link somewhere. I'll share it and retweet it later on. And yeah, it might be evening by the time some of you hear this. I didn't announce this, but I just felt moved today. It's Friday. I woke up with a good attitude, as I usually do. And if I don't wake up with a good attitude, you know what? I will bring one about, because I have to tell you, our attitudes are one of the few things in this on this earth, in this life, that we truly control. So even though I don't always start out the day with a good attitude, I make it my business to seek and acquire one. And you should too. That's just my recommendation. So anyhow, yeah, I just felt moved to share some thoughts this morning. From time to time, I'm inspired as such that, maybe there's someone out there listening to this who the words that I'm about to say may have some value to, or it may not. I know some of you like to hear me speak, and some of you find listening to me to be nauseating. Anyhow, surviving a train wreck is what this is entitled. Let me make sure I'm metering good so that I'm not just talking to myself. Okay, yeah, green light and the meters look good. All right. Surviving a train wreck. This is, of course, literal and metaphorical, but I want you to understand something. In life, things will happen to you. Bad things will happen to you. All of us. Some of us have more than our fair share of bad things and misfortunes, and some seem to just float along. But let's talk about when bad things happen, because it is not so much what happens to you, but what you do about it. Okay? A lot of people are familiar with my travels. It's mostly work travels, and I work in fun and everything. But, just a few years ago, I was unemployed, just got out of jail for, nearly 6 months, unemployable, because of a so-called criminal record. I won't go deeply into that, because that's another story, but most of you probably know what a joke that is, or was. But nonetheless, that's who I was. That's what was on paper. That's what employers saw. Not only did they see on paper that I had this criminal record, but because my case was so high profile, covered in the media, all over Google, people sent me clippings from newspapers in India about my story. People knew who I was, knew what I was about, and or thought they did, and didn't want to deal with me. So here I am, out of jail, no money, a house going into foreclosure. You don't pay mortgage for months and months and months while you're sitting in jail not working. Everything I owned pretty much looted out of the house that was broken into and left wide open by Baltimore police, windows smashed, doors kicked in, and just left unsecured. My animals, I'm an animal lover, had many, many pets. Everything is dead. Rotting corpses in the house. The Baltimore police did not secure my animals with animal control like they're supposed to. So my life was a train wreck. I'm going to tell you, it really was. There was nothing going my way. But here I am today. I roam about the country freely, go wherever the heck I want, whenever I want. I visit my large family that's all over the place, and I do whatever the heck I want to do. And no one can tell me that I can't. I was on a travel restriction for 3 years as in terms of my probation. To add insult to injury. Bad enough you fabricated evidence against me, falsely accused me of the stupidity, destroy my house, take all of my worldly possessions. I lose everything, the car, the house, and everything. And then you tell me I can't even travel. I have to be stuck in a town like Baltimore, which I love, but it's also not the most pleasant place to be 24/7 when you can't get away just to find peace of mind somewhere else. So that was me then, and this is me now, where, I have a pretty decent income, and I have some good things going for myself, and I don't say that as any brag. I'm telling you that things can go wrong in your life, really, really, really wrong, but it doesn't mean your situation has to be permanent. It doesn't mean it's irrecoverable. In Baltimore, we talk about the homicides a lot because it's a tragedy. It's something that something we need a solution. Something needs to be done. But separate from that, here's an interesting statistical point. As many people as get killed, do you know most people who get shot will live? There are more people who get shot and live than people who get shot and die. Okay? Train wrecks, car wrecks, plane crashes even. Every time a plane crashes, a big plane, and you hear lots of death, everyone talks about that and focuses on it. But what you don't hear about are all the other crashes that don't make the news, that happen, unfortunately, a little bit more frequently than some of us think. But the people survive. Sometimes they're injured, sometimes they're not. And I say all this, I'm going off on a slight tangent, but just because something bad happens, just because you're in pain from it, just because, boy, you're going to be set back a ways, doesn't mean that given time, hard work, faith, patience, perseverance, you can't pull out. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But I have to say this, though. One of the keys to surviving a train wreck, when your life is a train wreck, is to first be sober-minded about it and acknowledge just what the situation is. You have to assess it and say, you know what? Oh my God, my life really is a train wreck. You have to start there. If you are in a sense of denial, and I don't mean a positive attitude is key, it's important, but you have to acknowledge where you are so you can develop a clearer picture, path, and eventual plan of where you want to be. But if you don't know where you are, it's hard to figure out how to get to where you'd like to be. I'm a pilot, I'm a sailor, I'm a navigator, and I can tell you, when you're plotting courses on a map, on a chart or something like that, you have to know where you're starting if you have any chance of, charting a course to where you want to be. This is a universal law. It's unchangeable. It doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. It's just the way it is. So if things aren't going great in your life, don't despair, but acknowledge that, at least to yourself. Don't dwell on it, but look, this is where I am. This is where I'm starting, but that is where I would like to be. Don't be in denial. Don't downplay the situation to yourself, because then you end up not doing really anything. If you're pretending to yourself that everything is just fine, then you act as if everything is just fine, and you don't get that drive that you need to pull out, to push through. You got to have some drive. You got to decide, I don't want this anymore. I'm sick and tired of this. I'm not going to stay here where I am. I don't even know how I'm going to get out yet, but this isn't me. I'm not going to stay here. It's really that simple. It's simple, but it's not necessarily easy, right? So that's what I wanted to share with you. I mean, I could talk a lot more about this, but this is probably not the time, because I've already I'm already at the 8-minute mark in this. But I just want to encourage somebody somewhere out there who maybe you find yourself middle-aged like I am, and it's like, wow, this is not where I pictured I was going to be at this stage in my life. But it's not too late. It never is too late. As long as there's breath in your lungs, as long as there is a tomorrow, there's a glimmer of hope. Today didn't go the way you like it to go? Well, you know what? Here comes tomorrow. Let's try it again. That didn't go. Try it again. It's kind of like a baby. I met my great nephew for the first time last week. Toddler. Anyone who has seen a baby try to walk, it's such a simple object lesson. The baby will fail, will fall on his face, fall on his butt time and time again, but will not stop trying until he nails it, he or she nails it. And we, parents, loved ones, whatever, we encourage this. Yay, look, the baby's walking. And we keep helping and coaxing and guiding. And that's how you have to approach anything worthwhile in your life. Yes, it may not happen the first time you try, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, the sixth time, seventh time. Doesn't matter. Keep going anyhow. All right. Well, thank you for listening. As you can tell by the background, I am on the move again, as usual. So from the controls of the Millennium Voyager, I'm James MacArthur. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Have a wonderful weekend.